In this one, let me teach you how to sound professional. It's class number 1. Now, forget about the name. Here's the main idea. But we don't care about that here. You don't really have to think about él, la, she, he. You just say it. Or my personal favorite, when you want to make it professional and clinical. Okay, class number 2. This one is useful. In this one, let me teach you how to sound professional while making a statement for your patient. You do this using impersonal verbs. Now, for a point of comparison, and you may remember this from last class, and in case you haven't seen that one, go watch that one first. It's class number 1. Because some personal statements were given in that first class. Ella tiene fiebre, usted tiene diabetes, stuff like that. But first, let's take a look at what we call impersonal verbs. Now, forget about the name. Here's the main idea. Impersonal verbs do not have a direct subject. This means that there's no patient or provider doing the action or having something. There is no subject like I, you, or she. Let's just say the action is just happening in general. Now, to put it simply, we take out the who and we focus on the what. Now in English, think of most verbs that are used with it alone. Now when you're starting, the most common ones that they teach you when you learn in Spanish are the following. Está frío and está caliente. Now if you're talking about the weather, you're going to encounter something different. Hace frío and hace calor. But we don't care about that here, because you're not going to ask the patient about the weather. You're going to be talking about pain, bleeding, vomit, and other hospital fun stuff, right? Okay, so now, when do we use impersonal verbs? We use them when we don't know who or what is doing the action. An example can be, está sangrando. When it doesn't matter who is doing the action. And for this one, we have fue aprobado, that's a good example. Or my personal favorite, when you want to make it professional and clinical. Se dará de alta. Learn this one. It'll come in handy. Now, impersonal verbs are used in a general and undefined way, often using words like I, hace, and se. And these 3 are the ones we are going to focus on in today's class, class number 2. Now for the first one, let's take a look at the word I. I is a special impersonal conjugation of the word haber, and it's always used in the present. So when you hear I, they're talking about present tense. One of the factors that I like about this one is it doesn't change with plurality. It's always the same. If you want to say there is a problem, you can say hay un problema. There are problems, plural, hay problemas. See how it doesn't change? I is probably the easiest one to start with. And let me teach you how to use it. We use it to express existence and presence. Let me give you some examples. Hay dolor, hay sangrado, hay riesgo de infección. It's a good one. Hay líquido en los pulmones, another one we use almost every day. And hay sangrado interno. Memorize these. I'm sure you get to use them.
Es suerte. No hay fracturas ni contusiones. Sí.
Now, I always say using impersonal verbs can make you sound more professional and respectful, especially when giving instructions or just general advice. And believe it or not, they can actually be used, I think, to avoid conflict. Let me give you an example of what I use. When somebody is doing something that cannot be done or that they shouldn't do, I often use the phrase no se puede rather than usted no puede or tú no puedes. Why do I do this? Because I am focusing on the inability to do so, no se puede, rather than saying directly, you can do it, usted no puede. It's a very simple phrase that brushes things off without getting confrontational. Now, when you're beginning to learn Spanish, impersonal statements are a low-hanging fruit. As you saw, they're easy to grasp and you can start using them right away. You get to skip all the grammar conjugation jargon for now. So instead of you thinking, how do I say you have pain versus he has pain versus I have pain, you just say there's pain, hay dolor. They're short and to the point. You can even ask it like this with a questionable tone. ¿Hay dolor? There's pain? Because I often hear providers say, ¿me duele? Like asking, does it hurt me? Well, I mean, you should know, right? But I think they want to say, le duele. And that's what I mean. Instead of worrying about the subject, we can just use impersonal statements. For now, these are just very short and to the point. Hay sangrado, Es urgente operar. You get the idea. Now, let's take a look at the word hace. Now, hace comes from the word hacer, which means to do or to make. And just like it stays in that form, no matter what you're talking about. There is no person doing the action when you use hace. Now, very important, and write this one down. Hace is used to describe a condition, or most importantly, and the most widely used, an amount of time. The second one is probably what you'll hear patients use all the time from now on. Now, the most common one you'll hear probably in the hospital relating to the first use of it, a current condition, is the phrase hace frío. It's cold. And honestly, I'm just going to leave it at that. In the hospital, this is the only one you need, really. You can even ask a patient in impersonal form. Hace frío? It's common everyday talk. Now, its second use, the amount of time, you will use this one, so make sure you learn it. We use hace plus a time expression. We use hace plus a time expression. Now, here are some examples. Hace una hora, hace 2 días, hace 3 semanas, hace 4 meses. You get the idea. Now, this one here is gold in the hospital because you get to find out the onset of symptoms without complicated grammar. And this is exactly what patients use when they answer your question of how long has it been or since when.
¿Llamaste?
Hace como una hora.
Okay, so let's recap. We have seen I for existence. We've seen hace for condition and time. I suggest you practice these over and over and over again. And once you're done, practice them again, because most of your workers who claim to speak Spanish struggle with these. Trust me, I hear them every day. And very few of them use them correctly. Okay, let's look at the last one for today's class. Se. Let's just talk about the action without naming the person who did it. It's neutral and non-accusatory, so perfect for sounding professional in the hospital. Now, let's look at a popular one from a few years ago. Se requieren mascarillas. I'm telling you, it just changes your level of Spanish when you leave the subject out and you focus on impersonal statements like this. You sound more professional and to the point. You don't really have to think about él, la, she, he. You just say it. Se requiere ayuno, it's another good one. Se usan guantes. And when you're talking about surgery and they ask, will I be awake? You can say no. Se usa anestesia general. Very useful stuff. Now let's take a look at some negative impersonal statements. I gave you one earlier. No se permite, it's not allowed. Very useful. No se permiten celulares is another one you can use. No se permiten niños. This is good if you work in the ICU. Or if it's after visiting hours, no se permiten visitas. There's more you have to add if it's after visiting hours, but this is the basic idea. If your floor or your section absolutely states that no visitors are allowed, you can just use it like this. No se permiten visitas. Very useful if a patient's getting admitted and the family wants to go upstairs. Again, these impersonal statements are very useful because they make you sound professional and to the point.
Se tocó.
¿La cólica izquierda?
Sí.
Let's just say they reduce the risk of mistakes with formality. Now, if you like these statements and find them useful, I do have flashcards that you as a nurse, NP, PA, physician, or student can use every day in the hospital. Just click the description below because I have some free material as well. Think of these as a universal adapter. It's simple plug and play, and it's always understood. I hope that was helpful. Subscribe for more.